Welcome to Mind Your Business with Cyrus Webb
and Earl Hall.
There are things every business owner talks about.
These two business owners and
friends talk about those things and so much more.
Get ready to laugh and learn. Mind Your Business starts now.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to what's going to be the very first episode of a brand new show here on Instagram called Mind Your Business. I'm Cyrus Webb, one of the co-hosts. The other co-host, Earl Hall, will be joining us shortly. Glad you all could be with us for the very first episode as Earl and I are kicking off what we believe is going to be a show that is informative but also funny, a show that's about friendship but also business, and also you may come away with some tips and strategies for yourself as entrepreneurs as well. We'll do an introduction when Earl gets in here, but I definitely hope you guys enjoy this program. I've been looking forward to this. This is something Earl and I have tossed around for a while, the idea of one, doing a show together, but also being able to share some of our conversations with all of you, at least the ones that will not get us sued. So I know you guys are going to enjoy this a whole lot, and we want you all to be a part of this as well. When Earl comes in, we'll remind you guys how you can be able to be a part of it, how you can be able to add your own questions and comments, and of course, we welcome that as well. One of the things you guys may have noticed, and I'll be mentioning this also, is that I have a new channel. We'll talk more about that. Earl Hall, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, we're making it. Hey.
Oh. Thought we caught you at a bad time, Earl. I didn't know what was going on.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. I'm not going to make any jokes because that's not what I do around here. You know, I'm the voice of reason in this show. But again, we welcome you guys to the very first episode of Mind Your Business. Earl, you okay, man? You seem a little janky. Jerky.
Hey, I'm doing work over here. I'm working over here. Just keep it going.
Oh, you're working. You're working before the very first show premieres. You're still working. Working out the kinks, okay?
No kinks.
So look, that's what people can expect from a show from professionals. We're working out the kink, even as we're going on live. This is the way these things work. But look, Earl, I'm just saying, excited about the very first episode here of Mind Your Business, and I'm excited about the topics that we have coming up. I want to say, too, for those who may have noticed, my name has changed here on Instagram from Cyrus Webb Presents to now Cyrus Webb Reviews, which still fits me. But we had a little snafu with Instagram, and here we are with Cyrus Webb Reviews. That's what we're going to be able to stick with. It is a name that fits me. I do review a lot. I get excited about things. Not as excited as Earl, but I do get excited about things. But Earl, our very first show we did talking about this show is now gone from my page because that page is gone. But before we get into today's topic, what are you excited about when it comes to Mind Your Business?
I am so excited just about being able to have the conversations. What I believe that are so important and vital, the things that people don't talk about, like getting into the real thing. And the things that people don't talk about are usually their own motivations behind things, the goals that they have, but something's blocking some of that. And
right.
most of that time that is a personal thing. Even like we're going to be talking about today, success is personal. One of the things that I've always said is success or failure, it is your fault. Period. Flat out. Success or failure. When you're able to look into the mirror and see why certain things aren't working and look at yourself as that reason, you can fix it because it's internal. But if you look at everything externally, it's that person's fault, that deal didn't go through, that something or another, it's always going to lead you in the wrong direction. You got to look at yourself first. So I'm excited about being able to have those conversations, just like you and I have. When we talk about this kind of stuff, and we know that it's real.
Right, exactly. Hello to you, Melissa. Hello to you, Amina. Amina, I'll be speaking with you here in about 50 minutes on Amazon Live. Excited about that and your book. Melissa, glad you could join us. So let's jump right in. So this is the very first official episode of Mind Your Business. And for those again who missed it, as far as how this all came about and what we hope comes from this, Earl and I have been friends now for over a decade. And what is so cool about us is we have been able to find a lot of joy in our own lines as far as professions go. We have very different personal lives. Earl has a family. I have no personal life. And so, so it makes for very interesting conversations. But we have been able to talk a lot about business, about life, and how the two kind of go together. And that's really what we want to have happen with this new show. So again, as Earl mentioned, even though it's my topic, you heard Earl go ahead and mention
there's that control thing coming out, Cyrus, that we talk about so much.
Yeah, I mean, success is
next
personal.
week I'll be on the top section, and we'll be able to really dig into some stuff. But
that's gonna be a good one about consistency. I'm looking forward to.
I might do that one by myself.
But as Earl mentions, this week's topic is a very important one, and that is success is personal, and it really is a statement from me, and it's what I have definitely learned. And hopefully, I hope those joining us live and those watching the replay, hopefully you figure that out for yourself too. So Earl, I want to start off because I think it's interesting. I was thinking about this topic today and us talking about this. I think before we get into that, I want to ask you about your own evolution of what success is for you. How was your idea from when you first started your business? How has it evolved for you?
Well, it's funny because, I first started my first real entrepreneurial venture back in 1999. So that was a little bit ago, with that. And success at that time for me meant something different than it does for me now. I've always been what you would call a money-motivated person. We've talked about that, a lot. I am definitely a money-motivated person, but there comes a point where money can't be your only motivation. I'm by no means a billionaire, nowhere near that. But at a certain point, at a certain level of money, that does not give you satisfaction anymore. Because making money is the easy part of this, if we want to call it that, right? Easy, but simple, not easy. But once you get to a certain level in your business, there's got to be something else that drives you. Because if you get to a certain level of money, let's just say, okay, then you have to up that if you want to continue to have that dopamine hit, if you will. But if money is the only motivation, money does become a thing where, because you figure out that you can make money, that motivation has to change to something that actually gives you joy. Whereas if you did the reverse of that and actually went after the things that give you joy, then money may be able to follow that as well. That whole motivation of what success looks like for a true and real entrepreneur is something that I believe is always evolving. Money is nice, but we've had conversations before, Cyrus, where, we make money, but if I don't have peace, the money doesn't even mean anything. And I think a lot of times people will say, well, I'd rather go ahead and make the money than I can have peace. No, sweetheart. That is not how it will be, because you will always have those trials and tribulations that come into your life, whether it be personal, family, whatever it is. Other things are always going to happen. And if your driving factor is money as that thing that is going to allow you to say that I have success, no one on their deathbed, I'm assuming, and I've never been there, is going to look back and say, I wish I made more money. They're probably going to look at personal things. They're probably going to look at family. They're probably going to look at relationships. They're probably going to look at, well, I could have done this different. I think there's a lot of things that if we look at things with the end in mind, which you always like to do, Cyrus, looking at things with the end in mind, if we look at success that way, sure, you can plan, you can try and strategize out how it is you want to attain certain levels. But the thing about goals, they continue to move and they continue to get bigger. If you do have quote unquote success financially, those things will always move. But peace, having peace is a constant.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think the very opposite of you. I've never been money motivated. However, I tell people all the time, it's a really interesting thing for me that making money has been the challenge for me. Mm-hmm. And so, because for me, success is always just being happy. And I've been very fortunate at 47, and I've told you this, Earl, and I've talked about it on other platforms, not for you guys here at Cyrus Webb Reviews, because you guys are brand new, but you guys are good to know me here at Cyrus Webb Reviews, but I've never done anything for money. And so I've been very fortunate in my professional life. Everything I've done, I love, which sometimes can be the challenge, right? So for me, it always has been about the happiness first. And people would always tell me, you can make a lot more money if you did this. You would get a lot further if you moved from this place to this place, if you drove this, if you lived in this. And I always thought that was odd that they connected success with a thing or a place. Or a dollar amount even, because I didn't grow up with success being defined that way. And I think, Earl, so that's an interesting question then. How much do you think your view of success was defined by upbringing?
Well, my upbringing, my view of success from my upbringing with the father and mother that I still have, and that, I was blessed to still have, they have always been hard workers. My parents both came up on the farm. Right. My mother loves to tell this story about when she was a little girl, maybe about 7 or 8 years old. She didn't realize this until after, but her father was watching her outside of, watching her through a window, and she was trying to connect a plow as a little girl. Right. And she tells that story often. So it's one of those stories that I realize gives her a sense of pride. Right. That her dad just let her do that. So, and my own father, he grew up on a farm as well. And so it was a different time. My father was born in 1948. My mother was born in 49. That was a much different time. The world that they live in now, that I and my children have the benefit of living in, they could not even have imagined this world. Growing up in Virginia, couldn't have imagined this. So I've had an upbringing of that if you want to be successful, you have to work hard. That is it. You have to work hard, which is ironic because most people, when you watch things now on the internet, which all of us do, people are saying you don't have to work that hard to make money. You don't have to work that hard. But that's a lie. It is still a lie. It's easier to make money, but you still have to work tremendously hard in order to accomplish those things. It does not come just because you start a YouTube channel. It does not come just because you have friends on Facebook. This is work every day. Cyrus works harder than I do. I know I work hard, but Cyrus works a lot harder than pretty much anyone that I know. But the success that both of us have did not come or does not come because we're not willing to put in the effort. That effort has to be there. So the success, the sense of success that I have always had is that you are rewarded by the intensity of the work that you do. And it's something that I think people are moving away from, which I think is, I don't know if it's detrimental or not, but I think it's one of those lies that right now is being told out there. I'll just be honest. I think it's one of those lies that's being told.
Yeah. Oh, and I agree with you. I think, we're agreeing on something else. I agree with you. I think what it is, and we've all heard about these get rich quick schemes, sure. But the internet has become that in a lot of ways. It used to be a television, commercial we would see, but now it's all over the internet. You want to make 6 figures. You want to make this. You want to drive this car. Mm-hmm. It's all become the same. It's funny hearing you talk about your parents. I think about my family, and it's similar, but there's a difference. And it goes to, again, why I'm so glad I realized success is personal, because my family also worked hard. My mom picked cotton on the land that we now own. Mm-hmm. And I think that, for me, that was a big thing for me. However, in my family, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this too, success was getting up, getting dressed, mm-hmm. and going to work for somebody else.
Yeah.
My family never thought about owning something of their own. They never thought about being an entrepreneur. They didn't even know what that was. And so...
Yeah, when are you going to get a real job? That's what we always heard, It's like,
yeah.
When are you going to get a real job?
Right. And so for me, in the beginning, and I'm so glad that, Earl, you may not know this about me and other people may not know this about me, I don't always listen to what people say. It's a shocker, I know, to a lot of people. But
yeah. Melissa is saying I'm leaving. All this agreement is confusing me. Yeah.
But they used to always, when I remember my grandmother, And again, I'm so glad you and I have talked about this. I'm so glad she was able to see a glimpse of my current success before she died. But I remember hearing her talk on the phone one day, and she was saying someone had asked about me. I could tell because they were on the landline, and I could tell they were asking about me. And she made the comment, "Yeah, he's still here at the house." Instead of he's working, whatever. And I didn't feel bad about that, but it also let me know that you have to be so careful not to let how people see you, wherever you are, be the thing that defines you. Because whether I was being successful in their eyes or not, that's not really my job. That's not my job to fit their model of success, which is why I want to discuss this topic of it being personal. And I hope our audience gets that regardless of how people may see you, you may not be driving what you want to drive. You may not be living where you want to live. And again, it's all about what you want. You may not be living the way you want to live. But that is a personal thing for you, and it shouldn't be pushed on you by somebody else. Because, Earl, I think there's real danger there. Because
because what you're saying is a lot of times people do things like you were talking about the car that you drive or the place that you live or something like that. What is so funny to me, Cyrus, is so many times people will try to gain a level of success, not for themselves, but to impress someone else.
Right.
Right? It's like they're doing it with the complete wrong motivation so that I can show them that I did this. Well, what do they have to do with anything that you're doing? Why are they so important to anything that it is that you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pin this comment from Melissa because Melissa, I think, has been drinking. She said, I'm leaving. All the agreement is confusing. Melissa, I know it's a weekend, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of grace there. Carrie, hello to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Brandon, thank you so much for being with us. For those that are just coming in, you all are watching the very first episode of Mind Your Business with Earl Hall. I'm Cyrus Webb. Butterfly Thoughts, Kimberly, hello to you. Good to be able to see you as well. Today's topic is success is personal. And every week, Earl and I will be swapping topics, and you'll be able to tell whose topic it is, even though Earl announced my topic. He's down there. I'm up here because this is my week. I'm up here.
It's all right, guys. I will be up there.
He'll be up there, and I will be more respectful of him. You'll notice that, isn't it? Because I was raised that way.
Oh, my goodness.
But when we're talking about success being personal, and I want to say this too, Earl, that I think that's why we're seeing so many suicides. I think that's why we're seeing so much depression. I think people are not thinking about themselves. They're thinking about how other people see them. And I think that is one of the dangerous things. We as entrepreneurs, we have such opportunities right now. As you mentioned, it is a lot easier to make money today, right? But I think there is a danger there in making sure that whatever you're doing, whether we're just talking about making money or gaining peace of mind, that's something for you and not so much for yourself. Earl, I want to ask you, because you being the married guy, the two of us, and being the one that has the family, how much has that impacted your idea of success or what it takes to be successful, having a family and having those extra responsibilities?
Well, I mean, having the responsibilities of a family, that's whether you're an entrepreneur or not. If you're a married person or whatever, you have that responsibility to provide for your household. Now, the challenges do come into play because, since I don't have a real job, sometimes people think that, oh, well, can you run and do this, or can you run and do that, or whatever. And you have to be able to set those boundaries of, no, I can't, and people will learn. They do. Families will learn how to accept that and how to treat that. But I think when you have a family that grows up in this day and age and they see this type of thing, I think it's a much different thing than when I saw my parents when I was growing up, right? I mean, my dad left the house every day to go to work. Sometimes he'd have to travel and he'd be away for a while. And so there is a balance with us Gen Xers that have come into this role of now being entrepreneurs from an era where no one even knew what the word was, right? No one even knew what that word meant. You know, today I think so many people use the word entrepreneur in their profiles and titles. It just simply means unemployed. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, because anybody can say that I'm an entrepreneur or whatever. But the responsibilities of having a family and things like that, and figuring this out inside of a family construct, can be a little bit challenging at times. You know, it's like we joke all the time about like holidays, like last week, Monday was Labor Day or whatever. And I know I had said to someone that I have a call that I have to make, and they say, why are you working on Labor Day? And I'm like, well, that's odd. Even though you and I talk about it, we joke about that all the time, you know, but it's like, this is just a different time. It's a different world that we live in, and people can do business literally 24/7. I mean, you and I have people that we talk to internationally, and it's just, you know, it might be 4 a.m. It might be, you know, 5 a.m. You know, it might be 11 o'clock at night. Whatever it takes is kind of what you do, depending on the boundaries that you set for yourself.
You had mentioned about from when you first started how your idea of success has changed. I think the funny thing is my idea of success has not changed.
Uh-huh.
My acceptance of success is what's changed.
Okay.
And I think for a lot of people, they may feel the same way. For myself, I've always had weird issues. I'm a little strange.
No.
Yeah, I'm a little. I said a little. I'm a little strange. And I say I'm strange because I'm one of those people who I can live on very little by choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get excited about things, and most people be like, okay, that's not really a big deal. But for me, just the idea that I have choices. Now, for me being, you know, a Southern country boy from Mississippi, you know, I'm not a big fancy guy. You know, I don't go out and dine at restaurants. I'm not a big steak people. Yes, Melissa, a little strange.
That's what he said, Melissa, but we know.
Yes, I'm a little odd, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that for me, I've had to accept success, and that has been the challenge for me. And it is, I think, something that I continue to grow on. It probably, and I've said to you and I've said to other people too, probably my biggest challenge in my life is the acceptance of success and embracing that for myself. And it's something that it has taken me some time, and I can admit that I have sabotaged situations to slow the ride to success, you know, because it's like, okay, this is moving a little bit too fast. You know, I'm not really ready for all of this yet. You know, let's just pump the brakes on this. But I think that also is part of that whole thing about it being personal, because for some people, they're looking for it to the viral whatever, or or being able to say that, you know, this person is, you know, on this red carpet or all of that. And so for me, it's been one of those things I've definitely had to adjust. Has there been a time for you, Earl, that success has been scary?
No, I can't say that it has. I've always wanted it. I've always searched for it, and I've always wanted to go after it. Now, just because I say it was not scary does not mean even in those instances, I always made the right decision, right? It's like, okay, yes, I can follow this line, but that's the problem also with having or being fully money motivated. You chase the money, not your happiness, not your peace, but you chase the money. And the money can lead you in all different kind of directions if you're not firm and know what it is that you want out of what it is that you say that you're creating.
Yeah.
Because even for me, and we've talked, I mean, one of the questions I've asked myself for years is, what do I really want? You know, what is that thing? You know, I talked about purpose in life, and okay, what is my true purpose and whatever, because ideas and talent and all that other kind of stuff, okay, I have that, but a lot of things I've tried has not given me peace and has not gone in the direction I've wanted it to go. You know, so that's why success is so personal. And I think that at the end of the day, however you're trying to attain your success, you have to be able to answer some questions for yourself. And I think the main one is, what do you want? What is it that you actually want? Because if it's a car, that's not enough. If it's a zip code, that's not enough.
Yeah. See, my question would be different. My question is, I say this all the time, why do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
I think that to me is a better question that I've been able to find, because a lot of times people, when you say, what do you want? They want it because someone told them they should have it.
True enough.
You know what I'm saying? Or because that's what they think it is identified by. Hey, Deb, good to be able to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think that is a cool thing. And I think, for me, I think one of the good things I can say that I learned and kept with me, because I am old-fashioned in a lot of respects, and I think one of the good things for me is that I've never felt defined by stuff. It never mattered to me, growing up, that I didn't wear name brand stuff. But I will say this too. I think people, even my classmates, some of them I still stay connected with today, I can't say I was ever bullied because of not wearing a certain brand of shoes or clothes or whatever. Some tell me because they were scared of me, and that's probably was smart. But I think, I never, I never went through feeling inadequate because I didn't wear a certain brand, or because I rode the bus, or, that kind of thing, or didn't have my parents, at band practice, or, that kind of thing. So for me, success being personal never became an issue for anyone but for myself. And so, that's kind of been my thing of, okay, Cyrus, just like, you and I talk a lot, I'm offered things all the time. I turn down a lot because, for one thing, I don't want it. I don't, regardless of what it may cost, or, that it's not, if it doesn't fit into my whole happy place, I don't see the need for it. So, Earl, let me ask you as we wrap up our first show, and this was a good one, too. This was a good one. What do you hope people realize about identifying, as they think about themselves? We're talking about minding your business, so as they make it personal for them, what do you hope they think about when it comes to identifying what they think it takes to be successful?
Well, I think hindsight will always be in 2020. And so someone, if they said today that they wanted to be an entrepreneur, I think it is the good question. Okay, well, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And I have to keep going back to this because I think, because based on what I see online, most people are chasing the money. I think that is it. I mean, I know business owners today, they're not experts in a certain field, but they put themselves out front to be an expert in a certain field, but they have hired other people or agencies to actually fulfill on that idea because they don't know how to fulfill on it. That to me is disingenuous. It may work, but I don't think that it can work for long. And when you're looking to be an entrepreneur and when you're looking to find that success, you have to have that success defined for yourself. Because, because it is completely possible. We see all this stuff all the time, make $50,000 a month, make $100,000 a month, make $50 million a year and all that stuff. Do you have any idea what that means? Any idea what would be required of you to do that? Or could you live on, if you had a very good business idea, could you live on 10,000? Could you live on 20,000? And it would be a whole lot simpler to do that. Now, I don't, begrudge anybody that wants to build a huge business, make a lot of money, go out there, make all the money it is that you want. But is it going to give you peace? And is that your actual dream?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I would just say, to add on to that, for what I really hope people get from this is to realize that, and I say all the time, what is meant for you is for you, but success is one of those things. And that means it's going to look different. For some people, I used to think I wanted to be married with kids. Now I think about that would be such not a thing I want to do, because I like my life the way it is. I like my freedom. I like the idea of I only have to buy one DiGiorno pizza and half it and eat one half now and eat another half in a couple of days. I like the idea that I can drink out of the lemonade, bottle, not wanting, someone looking at me funny. I like those things personally, no judgment here. Hey, Herschel, good to be able to see you. But I think, for people, it really is about being honest with yourself. What is it you truly want and why do you want it? And I think if you want, like Earl said, I'm very happy for people who are making, I know people who are making a lot of money. You know, Earl knows people who are making a lot of money and who are living in big houses and all of that. That's never appealed to me personally. And I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just not what I want. So when people say to me, well, why don't you live here? Or why don't you drive? I always think that's an odd question because I think to myself, believe me, if I wanted to, I could. You know, but I don't, that's not what success means to me. I like being simple. I like not paying more than $50 to fill my car up. You know, I'm a very simple guy. I can live on $50 worth of groceries in a week. You know, I mean, I'm that type of guy. But I think, you know, if you want more, I think that's great. But as Earl said, make sure you want it for yourself. Let's see. Deb says, if I love myself, I truly and deeply, what would I do? Oh, I love that. And I love that quote. And I think that's the thing, Deb. I think to love yourself and to know and be honest with yourself. And like Earl said, there's nothing wrong with wanting stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And neither one of us, I don't think, would ever say there is. I think the motivation behind the stuff, that becomes the question. And that's why, as we talk about in today's topic, success is personal. What is meant for you is for you, but make sure you're wanting it for yourself. Earl, this was a great first show. I mean, I knew it was going to be good. Yeah, anyway.
With me, always. Yeah, because I'm here. Yeah. Yep.
I'm just glad we have on the record Earl saying that he's money motivated. I want y'all to remember that. So when I bring it up, I just want you to say, well, episode 1, Earl, you said it, that you're a money motivated. I think I'm going to clip that part and just have that as an ongoing.
Hey, man. Well, whatever works for you, you know.
Well, I hope you guys will join us next week where Earl will be taking the lead for next week's topic. Since I'm the organized one, I have the list here. I'm sure Earl doesn't have the list in front of him like I do right here. So the list is you guys can see on the second topic here. How important is consistency in posting to you? So that's going to be Earl's topic. Looking forward to that. Earl, man, it is always great seeing you, man. We talk all day, all throughout the day. Yeah, but it's great, man, being able to have a serious. I'm glad you were able to be serious. You know, and to be in your professional setup. I was able to be serious.
You're glad I was able to be serious.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad because I was concerned. I was concerned. But you know, I was glad you were able to keep it together, and you know, you're in your studio. It looks very professional there.
Yeah, I like the little butterflies and little flowers back there.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little janky in the beginning, but, you know, just like what they said, you know, the opening night, you know what I'm saying, how they start off a little shaky. You were a little shaky there, but I wasn't concerned.
I was on point. You called in early, as you usually do. You started the show early, so I'm like, okay.
Earl, are you shirking the blame? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I'm just
talked about that. You just talked about that, about people shifting.
Yeah, because you started the show a minute early. And
a minute. Ooh.
And
Earl, in all seriousness, let me tell you why I did that. As you know, with Instagram, well, you know this, but I'll mention it anyway. When you go live, it takes it a minute to notify people. It gives you a message. It would
have been good if you notified me. How about that?
So I notified your partner. I figured Instagram would push it out to you so you would know that I was going live.
Yeah, it did push it out to me, so I had to come out here and, you know, a minute early.
Melissa is asking a very good question. Who was the leader tonight? Melissa, that is an excellent question. Because typically, the person who's up here, what we had decided, the person up here was kind of, as you saw, you know, but Earl, you know, it's okay. I'm a person, I can lead, I can follow, I can just go with the flow.
Let's watch how you follow next week. How about that?
Well, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready. You know, that's just what I know how to do.
Awesome.
But we thank all of you for being with us. Thank you all for making this fun for us. If you're not following Earl or myself, there's a drop-down arrow literally right here. Make sure you guys click that drop-down arrow that we can follow not only Earl and myself, but also those who are joining us in today's chat. Yeah. So make sure you guys do click that drop-down arrow so you guys can do that. Until next week, we thank you all for watching Mind Your Business. We'll see you back here same time. Take care.
See you guys.